Okay, welcome guys. So I do have a couple updates on, Jim Farley did a great interview recently with some production numbers that I want to get into. Also, along that same line is he's meeting with Joe Biden about Build Back Better and potential tax incentives coming back to EVs or a new EV credit possibly. So definitely want to get into those two things. But my first update is really about kind of my journey with the F-150 Lightning. That's kind of how a lot of these videos started. I just want to update you on, I just got some news from my dealer and maybe you guys got some dealers. I love having threads under these videos. You guys always update me on, where you're at. And so, let's use this as a place to share where we're at on this, a journey, if you will. So mine's actually a little odd, which is why I'm bringing it up. So let me just pull up this email and we'll talk about it real quick. Okay, so first in his email, he does confirm that they are no longer doing any upcharges, which is great. Yeah, I thought I was going to have to pay $5,000 more or whatever. And I still was never even, for the record, I was never told where I was in line. I know I was like a late May registration, so definitely not first in line, but far from last. So he kind of just said, yeah, you're right in the middle. That's all I ever found out, but he didn't even tell me how much they had. So I still am in the dark of where I'm at. I've actually contacted another dealer too that I've been talking to. Anyway, this main dealer anyway, for a while, if you have been following these videos, they even said, okay, we're only doing this amount or getting this amount. And if you agree to a $5,000 upcharge, you'll get a Lightning. If not, you won't. So yeah, I agreed to that. Luckily, that's no longer happening. So thank goodness. But anyway, it goes on that he says that they received their allocations and they aren't getting a lot. And that every salesperson can pick one person to get their order in first. And he said that he's picking me because I've been the most annoying customer in the world, asking just thousands of questions about it, which is great. I appreciate that he chose me for no other reason than that. So, let me read the exact words. Since you and I have been in touch the most, you are my pick, so congrats on that. So I think he's just trying to pick someone he knows who will convert their order. But what's odd is the fact that they're doing it that way, and that my first question to him was, well, haven't you gotten wave 1 and wave 2 orders? Has anything happened? Like, I don't know if maybe he's just saying that to make me feel special. It worked. I do feel a little special there, but it's odd, isn't it? So I'm really stating this just to see if your dealers are doing anything like that, because it is kind of different from how Ford announced it, the wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and that they already set the order before the waves went out. So therefore, wouldn't I already have been in? I don't know. So I do find it really odd, but the good news is hopefully but again, there's no timeline here. Let's see at the bottom here. It says, they have not allowed us to start ordering them quite yet, but as soon as we get more clarified time on that, I will let you know. So yeah, part of me is a little worried, honestly, but at the same time, I'm fine. I'm just going to kind of just wait it out. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's how everyone has to be right now, I think. So on one hand, I'm pretty excited because I do think I'm ready to, get the Lightning. It is what I want. As much as I like my Tesla, I really do. I've wanted the Lightning since before I wanted the Tesla. So, yeah, that's just where I stand there. Now let's just talk a little about what trim to choose. In a couple videos back, I said I was actually not getting a Lariat or an XLT and actually considering a Pro. Well, that's not happening because they're sold out. And now I'm honestly in between the base Lariat and the base XLT. It's really hard to justify that. I wonder if anyone else is in this situation, which is why I'm talking about it. When you look at the $52,000 price tag for like that entry Lariat, the XLT, you're missing a lot of the key things, and I really don't like the tires on it. I like the upgraded tires, but then when you go $10,000 up for that package, you're at what, like $65,000, and it's like $3,000 or $4,000 more to go to base Lariat. So that totally disqualifies any of the upgraded XLTs. right away. They're just out of the window for me because I'd go base XLT or base Lariat right now. And I keep just thinking, like, is it really worth it to go that upgraded for the Lariat, especially because I've been a notorious car hopper the last couple of years. Like, I've had 3 or 4 vehicles in the last 4 years, which is not what anyone should do. But because I could probably see myself the second like a new Lightning is announced or whatever, or even the Silverado, if that comes out looking good, I do have a reservation on that too. I could see myself just turning it over another 2 years. So knowing that, maybe I could live with just the XLT. So all that said, I think I'm more leaning towards the deal, like, because it seems like a pretty great deal, $52,000 for the XLT, assuming it doesn't sell out, right? But at the same time, you do want kind of like the tech, the cool screen and all that stuff. And what is it? But it's a jump. It's like 18,000 more to go to the base Lariat. So I don't know, guys. I'd love to know your opinion. And I know there's some in-between options that I should maybe do, but it just doesn't make sense. So I like the base XLT right now. It's just a really good deal, you know. Plus, I already have equity in the Tesla. The used Teslas are going for like between 5 and 10,000 over MSRP, which is just psychotic. But if I can capitalize on that and then put it into, well, then maybe I should get the Lariat. I don't know. All right, you guys don't care. You guys don't care. Let's just get into the other stuff. Okay, let's do that. So the first thing that, you know, is actually pretty important is the fact that the Build Back Better has breath back in it. That's a tongue twister. Basically, what's happening right now is it's being broken up into chunks. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty, just the need to knows here, really. So what we need to know is the fact that it's being chunked out as well as prioritized. So the whole thing, again, that's where that EV tax credit lived as a section of the Build Back Better. So if you were excited about that tax credit, there is actually hope back on the table. In fact, some spark behind it is the fact that Joe Biden is meeting with a bunch of CEOs today, in fact, today and tomorrow, and that two of those CEOs are Ford and GM, and the meetings are all on the Build Back Better, meaning that the EV tax credit is strongly implied to be part of this first push when they get to it. So again, that's all very much speculation, but throughout a couple different articles, it does look like there is a chance still for a new tax credit of some sort to surface within the next year. Now, what I would guess is that a lot of things are going to change still. So we should not still be excited about that $12,000, $12,500. In fact, it likely won't be that much. I see a lot of that being hacked into. However, in the way the tax credit's being delivered and the amount, I still could see some change versus what we have now. So we'll keep an eye on that, and I promise to alert you. And you know, this is the place, and we'll do a deep dive the second there is a new official record. Like right now, this is still a little bit of speculation. So just want to be very clear on that, and not to get your hopes totally up. But the good news is, again, there is still the current tax credit for buying an EV. So if you were a Lightning or Mach-E purchaser, you still get the full credit, at least for now. So that again, we're getting really, really close to hitting that limit of 200,000 vehicles sold by Ford, because then the tax credit will start to shrink every quarter, every 2 quarters actually. But we haven't hit that yet, but we will very, very soon. So also, Jim Farley's been a very busy boy, and he's talking Lightning and EV production numbers, and he's talking a big numbers. So he actually said within the next 22 months, he's expecting to hit 600,000 EVs produced. That is a huge number. More specifically, starting around this time next year, maybe a little earlier, he wants to be hitting 50 to 60,000 EVs produced monthly. Those are pretty big claims. Like, that's huge. And now in that same breath, he also mentioned how, well, the semiconductor shortage and even parts shortage have been the biggest crutch so far. Not even to mention battery manufacturing, which we know is an issue as well, but he didn't even touch on that. He just even mentioned the first thing. He doesn't see the shortages to stop for another year. So even with that in mind, he's still making these claims. So I don't know. I still wouldn't get our hopes up or anything, but it does look like probably like for the 2022 model of Lightning, I wouldn't expect them to hit their stride anytime soon. However, I don't think it'll be a full year before some of these like later orders or sold out models will start to be like restocked and resold. That's more speculation, but just looking at the way things are, I think a lot of people are upset. Like the Pro sold out, the XLT might sell out, are the rumors. If those were the models you were in on, I think it's worth hanging on just a little bit just to see what happens. And maybe there will be some good news in that they will start to ramp up production and unsell them out. Is that even a thing? But there's a chance that could happen. So I do want to read a quick quote from a interview that Jim Farley did with Yahoo Finance. And I think it really sums up, to go back to the EV tax credit thing, because a lot of people are on the fence, and you're welcome to be. I totally get why some people don't feel like there should be a EV tax credit even. However, I really liked this quote, and it puts a lot of things in perspective. Not necessarily the fact that we need a credit. So not that, but rather the fact that we need to push EVs into the economy, into the market. We need more EVs on the road. And that was really he was actually talking about the credit, but I think just even as bigger picture, this quote still applies. So let me just read this real quick. Now, if we don't get our act together, we'll be behind as a country. It's not just about helping consumers make this transition to EVs. All battery production, all the jobs, raw material development in our country, all the intellectual property. We were the #1 employer in the United States in the auto sector. We want these American jobs, these innovative technology jobs to come to America. This bill, the Build Back Better, and incentives for consumers will absolutely be key thing to help us do that. That I know is a little controversial, but there's a good point there. We need to be competitive as a country. All that said is, if we do have some incentives, if we do push this, EV forward, he has such a good point of like the intellectual property behind it, new strides, new technology. Just as a country, we're going to fall behind real quick because I don't know, we're not leading EVs right now. In fact, it looks like we're third. China's almost tripling us. So it really makes sense. We need something to start competing. Just wanted to cut back in here because I did realize I kind of forgot to kind of show the other side, because it is important to mention that like Ford and Jim Farley does have the absolute most to gain with this tax credit, like financially too, like the fact that they would just continue to sell out EVs after EV after EV after EV if they're getting a 10,000 or more credit. So it's important to know that, like, yes, he framed it really well, but there's the other side of it of, Ford and GM especially have a lot to gain with this getting passed. So just kind of want to show both sides in this video is all. So that's all I got, guys. I'm going to call the video there after, talking for way too long. But I really mean it when I say I appreciate you guys watching these. I hope to have more news right around the corner. So stay tuned and bye, guys.